someone's friend knows a lot about you and researching you for a long time. I mean, everything. You've been the main topic of conversation for months, and you have no idea. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well because what I'm about to share with you is going to explain a lot of little strange little moments you brushed off recently. And I I'm sure you were wondering what are those signs, okay? That feeling of being watched, that random person who seems to already know things about you before you said a word, that's not your imagination. That's real. There's someone out there right now who's been talking about you constantly for months, not just weeks or couple days, for months to the people closest to them. And I don't mean casually mentioning your name in passing. I mean genuinely bringing you up again and again in a way that made their friends start recognizing your name the second it comes up. Some of their friends probably know small details about your life that you never told them directly. Details this person picked up just from paying close attention to you. That's the part I want you to think about for a second. Someone has been paying that too much attention, not in a way that feels intrusive or strange, but in a way that comes from genuine fascination. Yes, you have a way of existing that draws people in without even trying. And this person noticed it early. Maybe earlier than you even noticed it. But yourself. Now, I am getting that you're the person who doesn't say much. You're not out here oversharing. You know what I mean, okay? Not out here trying to prove anything to anyone. Not out here overperforming, okay? You keep things close. You observe more than you speak. That's your nature. And when you do speak, it actually means something because you're not wasting your words on nothing. That quality alone makes people curious about you. Because in a world, people talking just feel silent, just to be heard, just to be seen. You are the different one. Okay, you're the chosen one. You're one of the chosens. You let your presence speak first, and your words come second, if at all. And that's exactly what caught this person's attention in the first place. They noticed that you weren't just performing, they noticed that whatever version of you they were seeing was probably close to the real thing, not some curated version built for approval. And once people sense that authenticity in someone, it's rare enough that it sticks with them. It's rare enough that they can't help but bring it up to other people. Almost like they're trying to make sense of it out loud, trying to explain to their friends why this one person keeps occupying so much space in their thoughts. I'm seeing that at first. This person was a little guarded about how much they shared with their friends. Maybe they mentioned you in passing here and there, kept it light. They don't want to make it a bigger deal than it needed to be. It's real crazy, but over time, as they keep noticing more things about you, kept picking up on your patterns, okay? What you do in a day, your habits, the way you carry yourself in different situations. Actually, they were like studying you, okay? It became harder for them to keep quiet about it. Eventually, it turned into full conversations, real conversations, dialogues, where their friends started asking follow up questions, started getting invested in the story of you and thought they probably never even met you directly. And here's something weird, interesting. I'm getting that some of their friends were skeptical at first. Like, okay, this person sounds too good to be true. Are you sure you're not exaggerating? Are you sure this isn't just infatuation talking? And that skepticism is normal because people are used to hearing exaggerated description of others, especially when someone's caught feeling or admiration for somebody. But over time, that skepticism started fading because this person kept being consistent in what they were saying about you. They weren't just saying nice things to make themselves look good for liking you. They were describing specific moments, specific things you did or said that stuck with them. And that consistency is what convinced their friends that this wasn't exaggeration. This was real. Now, I want to talk about why this happens to you specifically, because as you can see, it is not random. A lot of what makes it memorable comes from the fact that you don't actually seek validation from people. You're comfortable, okay? You're comfortable not needing constant company, constant reassurance, constant attention. And in a world where most people are chasing external validation, chasing like chasing compliments, chasing constant confirmation that they matter. Someone who genuinely doesn't need that stands out immediately. This person probably noticed that about you pretty early on. Maybe you mentioned once that you actually enjoy your own company, that you don't mind being by yourself. And I'm getting that they didn't fully believe you at first. A lot of people say things like that just to sound independent, but they don't actually mean it. But then they watched you actually watch how you move through life and realized you meant every word. You really do enjoy solitude. You really aren't chasing anyone's approval. And once they confirmed that for themselves, it changed how they saw you completely. Because Someone who doesn't need people is a completely different kind of magnetic than someone who does. When you don't need anyone's validation, people want to people around you even be around you even more because being around you doesn't feel like an obligation or performance anymore. It feels genuine. It feels like whatever attention you give someone is actually earned, not just handed out because you're desperate for company. And that realness is rare enough that people talk about it. I'm also picking up that this person has been a little intimidated by you in a good way, not scared of you exactly, but intimidated by the standards you seem to hold yourself to. You don't lower your expectations just to keep people around. You don't tolerate disrespect just because you are afraid of being alone. You have boundaries, and you actually enforce them, and that's rare too. A lot of people talk about having standards, but fold the second someone show a little interest. You don't fold. And this person has noticed that. And it's part of why they haven't approached you directly. They respect you enough not to come at you carelessly. They want to make sure they're approaching you the right way. Okay, they researching. That's because they researching actually. If they approach you at all, now here's something I find really, really interesting. Even though this person has been talking to their friends about you, even opening up quite a bit about how they feel or what they noticed when it comes to outside opinions, they've kind of stopped caring what their friends think should happen next. Meaning, their friends might have opinions, might be telling them to make a move, might be teasing them about it, might even be questioning whatever you're worth all this attention. And this person has sort of tuned that out. They've decided in their own mind who you are to them. And outside chatter isn't going to change that. That's actually a form of respect, even if it doesn't look like typical romantic pursuit. It shows that whatever admiration they have for you isn't influenced by peer pressure or external opinions. It's real. It's something real. It's their own genuine perspective. And they're sticking to it regardless of what anyone else says. I also want to mention something about influence because I'm getting that you had more of an impact on this person than you probably realize. Small things you do naturally, things that don't feel significant to you at all, have actually inspired them to want to be better in some way. Maybe it's how you handle conflict calmly instead of reacting emotionally. Maybe it's how you carry yourself with quiet confidence instead of seeking approval. Maybe it's something as simple as how you treat people with respect even when you don't have to. Whatever it is, this person has taken note and it's actually shifted something in how they approach their own life. You become a kind of quiet example for them. even though you never set out to be an example for anybody. That's a powerful thing. Honestly, most people go their whole lives without realizing the epic they have on the people around them. You might be one of those people who doesn't fully grasp how much weight your actions carry for someone else. But this person knows. Their friends are starting to know too, just from hearing about you secondhand. Your name has become associated with certain qualities in their friend group, even though most of them have probably never even met you. That's how strong the impression has been. Now, do want to address the anxious part of this because I'm sensing there is some hesitation happening on their end. This person's friends have probably been pushing them to just say something to you. Just be honest. Just let you know how they feel or what they notice about you. And every time that suggestion comes up, this person hesitates. Not because they don't want to, but because they're scared of disrupting whatever dynamic currently exists between you two. Maybe you are already close in some way even while their friends keep encouraging them to speak up. I want you to understand that this hesitation is the reflection of how they feel about you. It's more a reflection of how much they value whatever connection currently exists. Even if it's small, they'd rather keep things as they are than risk losing even that small amount of closeness by saying too much too soon. That's actually a sign of genuine care. Even if it looks like avoidance from the outside now, some of you watching this might already sense what this is. Maybe there is already a specific person coming to mind as I describe all this. And for some of you, you might already be in something already committed to someone else. In which case, this person watching from a distance and talking to their friends is probably not going anywhere anytime soon. Most out of respect for whatever you already have. But for those of you who aren't currently attached to anyone, I want you to stay a little more aware of the people around you because there is a strong chance this person is closer than you think, someone in your existing circle, someone you interact with more regularly than you would expect. I also want to touch on something a little deeper here, which is the idea that being talked about like this, even without your knowledge, even without your consent, in a sense, isn't something to feel uneasy about. This isn't gossip in the harmful sense. This isn't people tearing you down behind your back or making up things about you that aren't true. This is someone genuinely admiring you, sharing that admiration with people they trust, and slowly building a kind of quiet respect for people for you never even met you. That's actually a rare form of being seen, being talked about in a way that only adds to your reputation instead of taking away from it. I want you to think about how rare that actually is. Most people who became the topic of conversation get talked about because of drama, because of controversy, because something negative happened that people can't stop discussing. You're being talked about for the opposite reason. You're being talked about because someone can't stop noticing things about you, can't stop bringing up moments where you handle something with grace, or said something that stuck with them, or simply existed in a way that left an impression. That's a completely different kind of attention. And it's the kind that actually reflects well on who you are as a person. I also want to mention that this pattern of being discussed without your knowledge probably isn't limited to just one person. I'm getting that there might be more than one person out there who's mentioned you to their friends over the past several months, maybe for different reasons, maybe in different contexts, but all circling back to similar qualities. Your calmness, your authenticity, your refusal to chase validation, your quiet strength in situations that would make other people crumble, these qualities don't go unnoticed, even when you're not trying to showcase them. People pick up on this stuff naturally. One and once they notice that, they can't help but mentioning it to people closest to them, almost like they need someone else to confirm that what they were seeing is real. Now, I want to give you a little bit of guidance here too, because I know some of you might start feeling a certain way after hearing all this. Maybe a little anxious, wondering who exactly has been talking about you, wondering what exactly they've said. I want you to release that need to know exactly who or exactly what. Sometimes it's better to just trust that positive energy is circulating around you without needing every single detail confirmed. Trying to figure out exactly who it is can sometimes take away from just appreciating the fact that your presence has had this kind of impact on someone regardless of their identity. I also want you to pay a little closer attention going forward to people who seem a bit more nervous or awkward around you than they probably need to be. Sometimes that nervousness is a clue. Sometimes people who talk about you tensively behind the scenes gets a little tongue tied or overly careful when they're actually in front of you because the version of you that builds up in conversation with their friends creates a bit of pressure when they're face to face with you directly. If you notice someone acting a little different around you lately, a little more careful with their words, a little more hesitant than usual, that might be worth paying attention to. At the same time, I don't want you chasing this information down or trying to force clarity where there isn't any yet. Whatever is meant to be known will come to light on its own timing. If this person is meant to step forward and share how they feel, they will when they're ready, when their own fears finally get outweighed by their desire to be honest with you. Until then, the best thing you can do is keep being exactly who you are. Keep holding your standards. Keep enjoying your own company without feeling like you need anyone else's validation to feel complete. I know you already know all of this, but listen, because that exact quality is what's made you so memorable in the first place. Sometimes you can forget, okay? You can forget who you are actually. Okay, I also want to remind you that even if this particular person never said anything, even if they stay quiet and simply continue talking about you to their friends without you ever approaching you directly, that doesn't diminishing what's happening here. This because this is happening. You left an impression that lasted months. You influenced someone's perspective on what genuine, grounded, authentic behavior looks like. You become a kind of quiet standard in someone's mind, something they measure other people against. That's not small thing, even if it never turns into anything more obvious or direct. So, if you've been feeling a little bit like people haven't been acting strange around you lately, like certain people seem to already know a bit too much about your habits or your personality, without you explaining yourself, or like there has just been an odd energy around certain interactions recently, know that this is likely part of what's happening here. Someone has been quietly building a story about you in their own mind, sharing pieces of that story with the people closest to them. And that story has been circulating for months without your knowledge. Whether or not it ever became something more, know that it comes from a genuine place and know that the qualities that got you here are worth continuing to protect. Keep being who you are. Keep trusting your own instincts and let the rest unfold exactly the way it's meant to.